Ion.
Hello, everyone. Today we are welcoming you back to Hell I Don't Know, the podcast. I am the moderator, unfortunately, for today. I am Nickie. I'll just introduce themselves to you. Wow, stuttering already. Yikes. Go ahead, guys.
Wow, what? That shouldn't have been that difficult, but okay. Anyway, hello. Jordan here. How's everyone doing? I'm doing great. I'm just tired. It's Monday. It was a fun weekend, but here we are. So,
Same. Darrell.
Well, I'm Darrell. I first of all, hi everyone. I hope everyone is having an amazing week. I'm quite tired, as I feel like we say that all the time. I feel like we're consistently like, I'm tired every time we come on these podcasts because we're all millennials. And so I am tired and I'm, a little stressed out, and I have a stressed ducky here. You can't see this if you're listening to this on the podcast platforms, but I have a stressed ducky that I have here. And I'm using that. Shout out to Lauren who gave me this. She was a dresser in a show that I did, and I'm using it to mitigate my stress today. And yeah, I'm also a teensy bit high. So that's where we are in life right now. Why did Nickie jump that like he never
what
heard?
happened? What's going on?
Oh my God.
Wait, what happened?
So, wow, I had another tab open on my computer, and I guess it had an ad playing, so music just started blasting in my ears. I was like, what is happening?
I think it was funny just because of the timing, because Darrell said I'm high, and then you were like, oh my God. Like, I was like, what?
No. It was like this super cheerful music playing in my ear. I was like, what is happening?
Okay.
But it's all fine. I was going to say to you, Darrell, why are you so tired?
Because I've had a long week. Like, oh. Here's the thing. Nickie and I are friends, but I'm so used to him being shady that I thought he was insulting me rather than asking me a leading question. So,
Wow.
My partner and I went to London last week. It was amazing. I had a great time. I got back, and literally like a day or two later, we had to go to a wedding in Connecticut. So it was literally like go. And I haven't had any real rest time, but honestly, he's had even less. So we're going to say shout out to Jeremy in this podcast, and shout out to Xanax for getting me through the flight. Shout out to Nickie for letting me use his car to go to Connecticut. You know what? And shout out to God for getting me back safely so the world could continue to enjoy my gifts. And yeah, shout out to y'all for being y'all and being alive and being just people who are, for the most part, great. And just like shout out to this podcast. Shout out to this podcast. Shout out to how many episodes we've done of this podcast, where most people give up after one or two. We've continued. Shout out to, wow. I'm so grateful today.
We missed last week because Darrell was traveling, so that's why we weren't here, guys. It's all Darrell's fault. But
we do it virtually. We do it virtually.
I did have a few people ask last week. They were like, "Oh, is the podcast not happening?" I said, "Wow, it's one episode."
It's one episode, but Darrell was out of town. I was also traveling, and our schedules just couldn't align for us to meet. But we're here today. And we are I'm moderating this episode. I don't know why. This is the last time you're ever going to get this, so hopefully you guys enjoy it. I'm never doing this.
Never say that.
I'm sticking by it. Anyway, today's topic came from a conversation that Darrell and I had, that I also had with Jordan, and it's all around respectability politics. I guess it's befitting that I'm leading this episode. because I have a lot to say about this topic. But before we get in, I think it'll be a great idea for me to actually define respectability politics for everyone, so we all can be on the same page. How about that, Darrell?
He said all be on the same page, and this specifically pointed me out. But yes, sure.
Wonderful, because this definition is for you. All right.
Wow.
Respectability politics is a set of beliefs holding that conformity to prescribed mainstream standards of appearance and behavior will protect a person who is a part of a marginalized group, especially a Black person, from prejudice and systematic injustices. Respectability politics place blame on groups already hindered by discrimination. How does that sound?
It sounds amazing. It sounds
Wonderful. All right. So this conversation came about because we were having some discussion around Jasmine Crockett and Majorie Taylor Greene. And I will let Darrell speak his mind first, and then we'll go to Jordan, then I would go last about our thoughts on that. And then we can go into a little bit of a banter. How does that sound?
I feel like let's let you speak your mind, your thoughts.
No,
first.
I want you to go first.
No, but I think it's good to establish a baseline. And since you've already introduced this topic to us, I think it's great for you to give us the baseline of your forethought on it. And I think that Jordan agrees as well.
Well, I'm moderating and we do what I want to do, so I'm not going first. So go.
Woo!
Jordan, what do you think?
I'm gonna have to take my job back pretty soon. I'm not. No, I feel like I'm gonna let the moderator choose who goes first because that.
Thank you, Darrell. Go first.
Jordan, thank you. So my thoughts. First of all, I want to start this by saying that the reason that Nickie wants me to go first is because he believes that I have very strong and negative and reductive views on the situation. I urge you to think beyond that. I don't have those thoughts. I have thoughts that are singular to my mind and my mind only. So with that being said, I'm pretty sure that most of you have heard about what happened with Majorie Taylor Greene and Congresswoman Crockett. Congresswoman, right? Mm-hmm. So Majorie Taylor Greene is, if there's a word worse than despicable, it's her. I think we can all agree on that. She is a smear on humanity of the human race. She is a pantheon of evil, and I detest her wholeheartedly.
Wow. Tiffany Pollard, New York.
What she said and how she acted is completely unsurprising. It's I would actually be surprised if she didn't act the way that she acted towards Congresswoman Crockett. And so everything that she said and everything that she did to me went very much in line with what I expect from her and people like her. Congresswoman.
I'll move my microphone. My bad.
Oh, I was like,
whoa, because I was on a roll.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Congresswoman Crockett. I think that her clapback, if that's what the kids are calling it, her clapback, hilarious meme fodder, Instagram fodder. I thought it was funny. I thought it was relatable. I thought it was bold. And I thought it was an entertaining response to what that woman said. But I don't want to feel that way when I'm looking at people that are deciding laws and bills that get passed in our country. And I personally, as much as I think Congresswoman Crockett is amazing and I salute her and I'm not judging her, I personally believe that type of behavior has no place in a courtroom. Not courtroom, sorry, the Congress room or whatever you call it. And while I was the Capitol, sure. And while I was definitely entertained by what she did, I personally would have preferred that she maintain her composure, that she not respond in the manner that people feel that we respond in consistently, specifically when she is in such a position of authority and respect. I would have preferred that she not get down in the mud with Marjorie Taylor Greene, and instead showcase that we are above that. I would have preferred that. And I understand why people have varying opinions on this. I understand why people feel like that is catering to whomever. But those are my opinions, and I fight, so don't come for me. And that's it.
Jordan, would you like to say anything before I jump into this?
Only thing I'll say really is that as I'm probably going to, I feel like I'm usually in every episode, and I see both sides of this. So I will say that
not you, Switzerland.
I'm just saying I do see both. I get your version of it, and I also get the other side, because me personally, though, sometimes you just be like, I have time today, and she had time today, and I get it, because there's a few instances where I probably could have been like, maybe you didn't need to do that in this moment, or you could have taken the higher road in certain instances. And then sometimes I'm like, fuck it, I'm just gonna, like I said, I have time today, so I feel like I get that. So,
well, I sit squarely, darn duck. I sit squarely on the opposite side of, I thought what she did was appropriate. For the benefit of, when we think about respectability politics, this whole idea was established because essentially people of color needed to rise above and always act better in order to be seen as equal. However, my question is, where is the bar? Which is where her comment came from. Because she wanted to know, why was what Majorie said okay versus what she said was not okay. Because she was just saying, if I were to call someone a bleach blonde, bad built butch body, is that okay? Because where is the bar, right? And my thing is this: I feel like people of color consistently, and again, I love Michelle Obama. When they go low, we go high. No, when they go low, I'm going to go to hell. Because I believe that we have been in a place to where we're always trying to play by the rules and play the game and do what people think is the great thing to do, the respectable thing to do, when no one else has to do that. No other race besides, retract, white people do not have to do that. And we just being honest, they don't. Which is why Majorie felt so compelled to say what she said. Which is why I think Jasmine was right in her right to say exactly what she said, because this is something that is perpetuated for people of color all the time. Prime example, Trump is a convicted felon and running for president. If that was a person of color, that will never happen. Obama was questioned for his birth and where he was born. He went to Harvard. Michelle, Yale, Harvard. And they still were questioned. So I don't agree with you, Darrell, when it comes to when they go low, we go high, because there's a way, a decorum to act. No, let's meet them where they are so we all can be on the same equal. We're equal. Let's all be equal, right? That's my thoughts. Would anyone like to rebuttal? Darrell?
First of all, you look like him from the Powerpuff Girls right now. Second of all, I want to say that we came into this conversation completely expecting to be on opposite sides. Mm-hmm. And just for sake of being a contrarian, I can continue to go along with this. But honestly, you just explained that, and I actually forgot one key part of this entire thing, which was that when she said if I were to call her a you said, would that be acceptable? She didn't actually say that though. She didn't say that. She said, if I were to call her that, then she didn't finish her statement. My interpretation of that was her name calling in response to Marjorie Taylor Greene. My interpretation was not her saying, if I were to do that, would that be acceptable? I thought she was being snide back to her, to be honest. And that was probably an error on my part. And probably, I'm going to be honest, the reason why I perceived it that way is because of how social media was presenting that information to us. Because it was presented to us as though it was a fight or an argument or whatever, and blah, 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 blah. And while it kind of sort of was, Nickie made a good point. Like, when she said that, she was not calling her that. She was saying, if I were to call her that, would that be acceptable? I still think that that may have not had the effect that, actually, I don't know what effect she wanted. And I don't need to, I don't need to pretend to know what she wanted, but I would hope and assume that her point was to raise awareness about how, about the way she's allowed to act in that space versus the way Majorie was. My only issue is that while I do appreciate her for raising issue to that, I think that that message is going to be lost upon the people that need to hear it the most because of the way she presented the information. I'm not going to say I disagree with how she did it or not, but I still do think that even though I understand more, I'm more on the side of like her still being allowed to have said that and it not being a problem, because I'm now not thinking of it as a problem. What I'm saying is, as a solution first person, I still don't think it had the desired effect upon the people that needed to hear it the most. I don't.
Why? I'm curious. Why do you feel that way?
Because do you feel that from that comment, white people that do not recognize their privilege in most spaces, do you think that from that moment, what she did, the message they got from it was, wow, we really need to be more cognizant of our privilege in these spaces and make sure that we are not acting in ways that our people, our counterparts that are people of color are not allowed to act. I don't think that's the conversation. The conversation was how she drugged Marjorie Taylor Greene for filth. That was the conversation.
I honestly think I would go. Sorry, Jordan, were you about to speak?
No, go ahead.
Okay. I honestly think that wasn't her intent, is to make black people behave better. I think it was her intent to let you know that you can't just talk crazy to me anymore. We're in a different point and phase of our lives. And I think that's what has gotten lost in the messaging from a lot of people, not just like in Congress, in general. We have traditionally set ourselves aside and taken whatever people have thrown at us and just kind of accepted it and said, we're going to behave better. And we're trying to teach people a lesson. That hasn't worked. Just how when you're a kid and you get in trouble and there's a consequence, this is a consequence to your actions. If you say something to me out the way, I'm going to drag your ass. And that's exactly what Jasmine did. To, one, let you know I am not a doormat. You will not run over me.
I understand that, but I just think that, like, and maybe it's wrong on my part, but if it had been another Republican, maybe it would have been different. But like, Marjorie Taylor Greene is not taken seriously. She is not, to the people that care about what Congresswoman Crockett was saying, she's not taken seriously. So I just don't think that manner of getting your point across and saying you're not going to mess with me, I don't think it was effective. Nobody that was against her beginning that conversation, that was in that room, looked at her any differently than they did before she said that. And if they do, it wasn't, I promise you, if they do, they're not looking more highly upon her. They're not. They're thinking, look at these two people that made us look a fool on national television, and this is what America thinks we have right now. Like, this is, I'm not arguing with her right to say what she has to say, or with the intention behind. She was triggered. I would be triggered too. But I just feel like in those positions, it's not about like being nice so they accept us. It's about holding yourself to a standard above those that are chastising you. I don't think that you win by getting into the mud. And I'm saying this regardless of race. Regardless of what this is, I personally do not think that the way you win or get your point across are taken seriously is by getting into mud with people that are down there already. I think it's about rising above that and moving through it in a way that you maintain a sense of decorum and decency about yourself. And while those words are strong in terms of what she actually did, the bigger subject of respectability politics, in my belief, is that looking at it singularly through the lens of what happened in that room, I don't think it's about that. I think it's about just allowing yourself to always to not be taken out of character based on someone else, especially when the stereotype is that is how you respond to when being triggered. That's my point.
I'm going to disagree with this because you said something that said Marjorie is not taken seriously. Do you know Marjorie Taylor Greene is the second highest Republican in fundraising?
I didn't say
next to
no,
Trump.
No. That's not what I said. I said Marjorie Taylor Greene is not taken seriously amongst those who Congresswoman Crockett's message was intended for. That's what I said.
So are we just discounting a whole group of people?
We are, because the reason I said that was because the people that Congresswoman Crockett is talking to do not look at Marjorie Taylor Greene as anything other than a cartoon and somebody who we don't take her seriously. She is to be taken seriously because she obviously is a congresswoman and has a lot of Republican funding. But what I'm saying is we don't expect more from her. That's what I'm saying. The audience that Congresswoman Crockett was speaking to does not expect more from Marjorie Taylor Greene.
And do you think the audience that Marjorie Taylor Greene is speaking for take Jasmine Crockett seriously?
I don't know. Because I don't think that they would take, honestly, I don't think that they would take any black person in Congress seriously, if I'm being frank. But what I'm saying is that I don't think that her response would have made them take her more or less seriously. If anything, that response probably made them look at her even less. Not that it really even matters. But like, you really think that Congresswoman Crockett being like, all right, I'm not saying how she should have responded because I'm not going to say how somebody should respond. But you think that even if she had been respectful, they would have viewed her more highly?
That's my point. Who does she have to respect?
Who have the respect?
You said if she would have did it respectful and said it, who is she respecting? Who is she giving this respect to?
If I said she should, if I said respectful, I'm retracting that because I don't like that as.
Because that's what you said.
Well, I just said I'm retracting it. So pipe down.
Jordan, take your job back over because this is hard.
Okay. This is an interesting one for sure. Because I'm listening to this and I'm like, I really do hear this and I hear this and I'm going, okay, like, I also feel like in this situation, it's a little difficult because I feel like normally, Darrell, your stuff would just like it normally would apply to most things. I just feel like in this particular situation, I don't know, it's difficult just because like I'm trying to go back and play the video in my head again, and I'm thinking to myself like, I think why she did it, for me, at least my interpretation of it, was because it was like to kind of almost prove a point and say like, well, this person did this, so if I do this, is this okay to like balance this out? Like, where's the, how, like you said, where are we drawing the line in this situation? In the sense of, I don't think she was trying per se to be disrespectful. I think she was more so just being like, you're doing this, so if I do this, does this make this okay? Just to kind of, but again, I also see what you're saying too. Like, did the point come across? I don't know per se, but I think she was trying to make that point. I don't know if it fully landed. At least on I'll say, going off of what I was reading on my timeline, it seems that people were. It was mixed. It was some people saying kind of what Darrell was saying, then there was people saying what you're saying, Nickie. So that's why I was like, this has been a very split viewpoint. So
I think it got the point across greatly because also here is my question: when has politics been? When was the last time politics was in mainstream media?
Mm-hmm.
Beyond Trump going to, but that's what I'm saying.
We're not doing that.
But my thing is this. No. Let me finish it. Let me finish my statement.
Let's hear Nickie's full entire statement, and then we'll go.
Let me finish my statement. While yes, I'm pretty sure her intent was not to get politics out into mainstream media. However, what it has shown people lately is that the House, the third branch of government, is a fucking mess. And I think it was really intentional from my seat, because if we pull this out even further and we look at this, how Respectability Politics play out in our daily lives, I'm sure all three of us can have a conversation where we have wanted to be Jasmine Crockett.
Mhm.
First of all, I am a very outspoken individual, and I am like that in most facets of my life. If I have something to say, I will say it. And
Mhm.
I don't mean this to come across the wrong way, but like, I have never gotten what I wanted from acting like that. I've never gotten what I wanted from behaving in a way that people expect me to behave. I'm not saying, I do want to make it clear though, I don't think she was wrong. Can we just state
Mhm.
that first? Because I don't want nobody coming at me saying like I'm telling people they're right or wrong or how black people should act. We are not monoliths, and I don't think we should be doing anything. I'm simply
Mhm.
speaking on the fact of like me as a person, how would I have handled that versus how she handled it. Neither one of them are right or wrong. They are just different. I just want to say that because I feel like this conversation is making it sound like I'm trying to police black people and how we enter spaces that we are not the majority in. And I don't want it to seem like that. But in my experience, getting down to that level, I shouldn't even say getting down to that level, allowing yourself to respond emotionally to provocation seldom produces the intended outcome, especially for people of color. We are not afforded, unfortunately, the same opportunity to act the way Marjorie, whatever the fuck that bitch's name is. We are not given, we are not afforded, we are not, I don't like afforded or given because that makes it seems like that makes it seem like people have something to give or take away from us. Public opinion on our behavior in those instances is not always looked upon as fairly as it is when white people do it. And because of that public perception of who we are, the outcomes and the consequences of us behaving like that tend to be far more severe. And I just think that on a stage where I would have loved for her to respond with righteous indignation almost of not even acknowledging that this spawn of Satan has just gone that low to attack me when we have the privilege of being here because of the people that have elected us. And that's how you use that position. I would have enjoyed for her to almost dismiss that thought, like not say like, oh, it's not there, like we're not going to acknowledge it at all, but to dismiss that thought as something infantile. I honestly would have preferred that rather than giving it the attention that it gave it. It's just I know that was a roundabout way of saying things, but honestly, we liked it because it made us feel good to see her do that. That's why we enjoyed it. It made us feel good to watch her read this woman that we all feel negatively about and have seen manifest in our lives in one way or another. It made us feel good to watch her do that to her. But ultimately, it changed nothing. And I don't want to get into the conversation about having how this brings politics to people because politics should not be theater. Politics is not entertaining. That's not what politics is. We make it that because we have limited mental wingspan to learn new things and be invested in things that directly affect us. But ultimately, I don't want politics to become theater in that way for our country. So I don't even want to,
So, question. So, in instances where, because again, technically, you know, she didn't start it. We know who started this situation. So, in those instances, what do you feel is the best way to, in your opinion, to go about those situations? Because again, I would say 99% of the time, we're not starting those situations anyway to begin with. So, and it's like we keep going through this balance of like, do I not say something? Do I say this politically correct answer? Those things like that. So it's like, at what point do we draw some kind of like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, it's like, because even too, I like that you said that it didn't like change anything. Cause I just saw today, she just, Green, whatever
Mhm.
she did something with Dr. Fauci where she was, said, I'm not going to call you doctor. I'm going to call you Mister or whatever and stuff like that. And it was like, she was just being obviously disrespectful
She's a
per usual.
provocateur. She's a
And
provocateur.
but again, I was like, this, where in line does this matter? Because it's like, she's still talking shit and she's still going to keep doing the shit. So I think it's like, is that what you're saying? Like, this didn't matter in that sense? Like, it didn't make that impact of that? Or I'm just trying to.
the only place I'm saying it didn't matter in is that one, whatever they were talking about before this came up probably went completely unresolved. But also
Okay.
the conversation around that did not, I don't personally feel, and I'm 100% open to, and even hoping that I am wrong about this, but the conversation around this did not lead to people saying, wow, it's a shame that it's a shame that like Marjorie Taylor Greene was allowed to get away with that, but Congresswoman Crockett wasn't. Like, it's a shame that, but the conversation around that, and even that was conversation in small pockets, by and large, the conversation was, wow, what the fuck is going on there? Like, this is how they're behaving in Congress. And also, I just got back from the UK where, and I have people that can attest to this. Three different people commented on the state of politics in the US and how it's a shit show. Three different people within the same day. They all had this to say about the US. It's not cute. I don't want that. I hate to say it like this, but like sometimes as people of color, unfortunately, people do represent the larger majority. We literally elected her to represent constituents, right? And by being in that position of power, you subconsciously and unintentionally represent people beyond yourself. I don't want that to be how we look on the global stage. That's me personally. I'm not saying, again, not saying she was wrong. I'm saying me
Mhm.
personally, I would prefer for her to respond. I don't even want to say that because that sounds inflaming. My ideal response would have been, you know what? It's become clear to me that this woman cannot speak to me in a manner befitting of my title. And so I'm going to choose to elect myself out of this conversation and we can proceed further, or I can have this conversation with someone else whose opinions and viewpoints might be a little bit that we can share more easily. We can communicate more easily. I would prefer something like that versus this built blonde beach body, and also not even to add to that, everybody is sensitive on the internet, and I'm not scared to say that motherfuckers are sensitive as shit. Everything bothers everybody. She
Mhm.
even got that conversation even went left because people were upset that she was body shaming Marjorie Taylor Greene. I don't even want to put air
Mhm.
quotes around it because, like, quite literally, whether you agree or not, she was body shaming her. She was literally body shaming her, even though that wasn't the intention of what she did. That message also went out there as well. And she's added something else to her name that basically people were saying, like, to insult someone else, she decided to body shame her, and that doesn't benefit anyone. And even though I don't personally agree that I shouldn't say that. She did literally body shame her. Honestly, my personal thoughts is that doesn't bother me because she was in an argument and she wasn't trying to be rude or disrespectful. She body shamed her because that's what came out of her mouth. And while it's not necessarily right, it didn't offend me, and I don't care that she said that. But it did offend, and other people do care. And that hijacked, and I don't want to say hijack, but like that also is part of a conversation that doesn't propel anything forward, really. So
Mhm.
what was
Okay.
this? How did this help?
Okay.
So,
I,
Nickie, do you first, before you say what you're going to say, do you see or hear anything of that side of things
I
from Darrell's
see and
point?
understand Darrell's point. I really do. But I
Mm.
think it goes to my question is how many years, decades have we tried this high road approach? This I'm not going to engage. I'm not going to dignify you with a response. How many decades have we tried that and that has not worked? Outside of politics, just in life in general. It's the whole idea why we have Malcolm X versus Martin. Like, one person's ideal, take the high road, do the right thing. Like, does that really bring about a change for us? Honestly, outside of us still dealing with microaggressions, that's one. Us still feeling like we have to earn our spot. It goes to Beverly Tatum's book of Why All the Black Kids in the Cafeteria, same thing in the cafeteria, that talks about how when she did a whole study that came to black people with black names who got degrees was not picked for interviews over white people who had federal criminal records. So my thing is, when is, if what we've been doing, which is the high road, isn't working, we don't like the way in which the decorum that which Jasmine acted. How do we fix it? Because if not, we're going to continually be in this position of having to take the high road, people still being disrespectful, and no real change being brought about, in my honest opinion. And I
I'm
know that
not
probably sounds a little bit of hope tip, but I'm just being honest.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying you should take the high road. That's not my argument. I think that's what you're hearing. What I'm saying is that we can get there, but we don't have to match that energy. We don't have to get them at that place.
So
You can
how?
still, like I said, you can still acknowledge that like what you're saying is beneath me, and I'm not going to entertain that, because beyond it being about race or any other factor, by a general rule that I live by, I don't like to get down in the mud with people. If you're acting crazy towards me, I am just like you if I'm acting crazy towards you. That doesn't help anything. It's not even about race at that point. My point is that in order to move anything forward, one person has to decide to move forward. And I don't think that behaving like that, I don't think that you said, when has that ever worked? I think the thing that's like keeping me from keeping I think the thing is that we kind of both do feel the same way, but you're listening to what I'm saying and you're feeling it in a different way. I would never say that black people should lie back and allow people to say whatever they want to say. People should say whatever they want. I'm not saying that black people should lie back, or not even just black people, anyone. I'm not saying that anyone should allow anyone to speak to them disrespectfully or in any rude type of way, any of that. I am not saying that. What I'm saying is that regardless of who you are, what race, color, sexuality, religion, anything, I don't think that it is helpful to move a conversation forward to do the same thing the person is doing to you. It makes you feel good because you feel like you stood up for yourself and you feel like you got out what you needed to emotionally to not feel bad about a conversation. And that's a very human response, but it doesn't move anything forward. So the conversation about how has this helped black people over years and centuries, like, I first of all don't even love that argument, because I think that we've made a lot of progress from where we have been due to people who are willing to handle situations in both ways. So I actually think that conversation is a little bit lazy, if I'm being honest. Like, I think that point of view is a bit lazy. And I think that what we should do is not look at it as how has that ever helped, and we should look at it as, have we ever gotten an intended outcome and how did we achieve it? That's what I think we should look at it as.
I think your argument is based in we live in a world where we're all seeking equality, which that honestly doesn't exist here in America. Which is why my question is to say, how do we fix the issue of, no matter if we don't dignify them with a response, no matter if we act like Jasmine and Crockett, how do we get people collectively to a space and a place to where disrespect like this is not even okay in people's eyes? Because what Majorie did, coming for her lashes, was not seen as impactful as what Jasmine said. Both of them were disrespect to someone's physical appearance. I'm going back. Both was disrespectful to someone's physical appearance. And if we don't like the way that Jasmine responded, and I personally feel the way you respond don't really bring about a big change, because if so, we still wouldn't be having this conversation. My thing is, how do we get there? I'm asking a question. How do we get there?
Well,
And
first of
this is
all,
life.
before we say that, though, I want to say you did, in my opinion, touch on the very point that I was trying to make, which is that Marjorie Taylor Greene commented on Jasmine, Congresswoman Crockett, and in a way that was seen as disrespectful and body shaming or negative in some sort, and she didn't get that, wasn't looked on the same way Congresswoman Crockett was. My entire point was that she will always be looked at as different from women from whom's behavior that is expected of them. So the impact that she had by doing that impacted, touched on, and made a lot more people feel various ways that weren't very positive than Marjorie Taylor Greene. So you see what I'm saying?
I understand your point, but my question is, you still haven't answered it. How do we get there?
I'm not saying that I'm Jesus and I know how to fix the issues of, honestly, like, dehumanization in America or the world by large.
Well, but so let me ask the question. I think I was actually, I'm gonna ask both of you. If there was an opposite way of responding in outside, and Nickie, even though you feel that's how you would have responded. What is an opposite version that you could have done in the response? And Darrell, what could have been an opposite version of your response that you could have done to someone saying what that
Marjorie
woman said? Yeah, said.
I mean, I kind of already said it. Like, I would, like, if she had said, you know what, I can see that the person that I'm speaking with is not mentally equipped to have this conversation with me. Can you direct me towards someone that is? Can we talk about this in a larger scope with someone who won't fall on deaf ears? Can I just ignore that? Ignore that. Like, there's a way to do that and still and not get in the weed. I guess what upsets me the most is that I just think we're so much better than them. I think that because of what we've gone through and how we've had to navigate the world, we are literally better than them. They have not had to face that the way we have. So for me, her getting down to her level and responding like that, it was just like, girl, I know you're better than that. And to answer your question, I would have preferred her to just say exactly what it is. This conversation is not what you are saying and what you're saying to me, how you're speaking to me. It is not befitting or worthy of the time that I'm allocating towards you. So someone else, please have this conversation with me rather than do what she did. That's how I would have preferred that conversation go down.
Okay. And Nickie?
I would have did this in a very different way. First of all, I can't think of alliteration that quickly on my feet. That proves just how intelligent Jasmine Crockett is because, wow. I would have probably... Sorry.
I feel like she already had that in her head about her, so it just
she had to.
She had to.
She had to, but I probably would have taken this to say openly, what we are experiencing right now is a microaggression and someone thinking that I am less intelligent by the way that I look. This America is what Black people are saying it is wrong in this country.
Yes.
We are experiencing, like, I would have went it from that approach, but again, I'm a person who loves history, who loves facts, who loves data. That's my approach. I'm just saying there has to be a teaching moment, and I do not think letting them slide, which honestly, Darrell, even in the way that you just explained it, as calling her mentally unequipped because she turned around and called AOC that right afterwards. I don't think that is impactful to make them, no matter what. Marjorie Taylor Greene didn't say anything else out the way to Jasmine Crockett because she knew over there was not her match. And my thing is, certain people will learn. My honest opinion, people will treat you the way you allow them to be treated.
You think that Marjorie Taylor, you think that conversation cost Marjorie Taylor Greene when Jordan just said what she said to Dr. Fauci. You think
she didn't say it to Jasmine?
Okay, all right. Like I said, nothing changed. She didn't. Nothing changed. And Nickie, we're saying the exact same thing. We are literally saying the exact same thing. We are saying that some way that behavior needed to be addressed. We're saying that we both
agree with that.
We're saying we both agree that how she addressed it was fine for the way she wanted to address it. Yes?
I would agree with that, yes.
Okay, you're saying that if you're saying the way you would have addressed it was how you just said, I'm saying that the way I would have addressed it was what I just said, and we can both agree that both of those ways of handling it and what Crockett did, all three of those ways are ways to identify and confront someone about a microaggression in Congress, yes or no?
I agree.
All right, so we're agreeing on everything. The thing that you're disagreeing with me about is the emotional aspect of what it feels like to attack someone because they did it to you first. And that is not a solution-based response to anything. We agree on the overall landscape of this entire situation. You like the fact that this woman read her for filth because that is the type of person you are, and you like the entertainment aspect of it. And that is why you like that. That is the truth. I'm not being shady. That's the truth.
That's not the truth, because I think it goes back to the actual topic is I don't like responses that are based in respectability politics.
Yeah, but I don't, Nickie, that's not, I hear what you're trying to say, but I'm saying for you specifically, the reason you like that response is because it is a way to get to say something that we all think in our heads and emotionally respond a way that all of us can relate to. That's why you like it. And honestly, I think that all three of our responses, had she done any of those, would have still lent itself to defying respectability politics, because you're still responding in a way befitting of who you are as a person and saying that this isn't going to slide. And you can't refute me on that, because we just agreed that we all agreed that we're thinking and feeling the same way. So my point to you is, I'm actually so grateful, because you literally just proved my whole point, which is that the entire reason you wanted to have this argument with me, even though we fundamentally agree on what we're arguing against, is that you like to see that type of emotional display on television, because it makes you feel, there's a part of you that makes you feel good about it. And honestly, I think that's lazy. And I think that we have to hold people in higher positions in a better account. I think we have to hold them to that.
No, why are we?
Go ahead, Jordan.
No, I'm asking, why are we saying lazy?
I think that's lazy because it makes us feel better, because it's things that we would do. But if we are better, I think we should do better. And while it's entertaining, it's not progressive. It's lazy it's lazy if you're seeking this for entertainment value without caring about the movement or the progress that it gives when you do it. That's lazy to me. It's entertaining for a moment.
I was with you so far, but there's two things I don't agree with. One,
I wonder what.
That last one was, wow, left field, crazy.
What specifically was left field?
Calling the way that response and acting in that way lazy.
No, that's not what I said. That's not what I said.
That's literally boiling down what you basically just said. No,
I didn't say that was lazy. I said that being your preferred method of delivery is lazy. That's what I was saying.
So you're calling the way I process entertainment lazy.
This isn't entertainment. That's my point.
Well, but your definition of how she said that, you said that is entertainment value. So yes. I am just didacting it down to.
Well, hold on. I don't think I don't think though, and correct me if I'm wrong, Nickie, that is that your preferred?
No.
Okay, so exactly.
It's not.
I don't think that was his preferred.
But do you understand that's how you got out what Darrell was just saying to me?
What?
Wait, say that question.
I'm saying, did you not get that's how Darrell just said that to me? About
the laziness?
Yeah, the lazy of way I process information.
Well, that's why I was asking the question, to clarify exactly.
Yeah, Darrell, because that's the way you explained it.
What are you specifically talking about?
You basically are saying that I can only process lazy entertainment.
I did not say that. I said your preferred method of digesting this specific encounter is the one that caters the most to entertainment and not progression. That's what I said.
And then you said, and honestly, I think it's lazy.
I do.
That was behind it.
I do.
So basically, again, reiterating, you are basically saying I have a lazy processing of entertainment.
That's not what I said. I think regarding this specific situation, if the way she handled it, after we both agree that there are three different ways that were all equal, if the way that you prefer she delivered that message and the way that resonated the most with you was the path of entertainment, then it is a lazy way to digest politics. Yes, that's what I mean. And if that describes you, and I think it does, then yes, that's lazy.
Wow.
I'm not saying that you feel lazily about politics in general, but if that's how you choose to digest this information, and that's the way that appeals most to you, I feel like that is lazy.
I am really not enjoying you basically saying that I have an intellectual way of digesting politics, is what you just said.
First of all, Nickie, you know more about politics than I do. First of all,
that's what you...
Well, what you gathered was wrong. I'm saying
what you just said to me.
What I'm saying.
However, I'm going to finish my statement at this point because I've given you plenty of room to talk.
But that's not what I said, though. That's not what I said. That's not what I said.
Because one thing I'm going to correct you on is I do not enjoy when people answer and respond out of emotion. I also, secondly, do not think Jasmine's response was out of emotion. And I think it is belittling of you to take the intellectual statement of alliteration and respond in a way with that way. She took an insult and formed it into a question that basically had to then put Congress at a level to respond effectively. So, sir, I apologize if all you took was a score from that comment and didn't think about the totality and the change that could make. It is not an emotional response. It is an intelligent response that is meant to start fire. That is the difference. It is not lazy processing.
And it was so entertaining, wasn't it?
Entertainment was an added bonus. It was a dessert to an entree.
Give it up for Nickie, y'all.
Hate you.
I do honestly think that because of the way we're talking about this,
let Jordan speak. You did enough.
No. I only thing I was going to say was I really do believe you guys are essentially saying a lot of this very similar things. So I think you guys just differ upon that one little aspect of it. And but I also think at the end of the day, we all agree upon that there was other alternatives that could have happened. But I also think even probably me and Nickie probably stand on like, I'm still fine with it. Like, I'm not like upset that she did it, but it's like, but of course I also see your side of thinking like, yeah, we could have possibly did it differently. But again, like I said, sometimes you just have fucking time today, and she just did. And I truly don't even think that she did it as like, I'm trying to be insulting to this person. I think she really was trying to just make a point of some sorts. But I think, again, we could have probably did it differently. Either way, you guys are saying the core of the same things. So,
I want listeners to know today you really got a full example of how conversations.
Yes, they absolutely did. And I saw your blood pressure raise so high at the end. Darrell was pretty calm towards the end, and I thought Nickie's head was going to explode. But that was entertainment.
When he called me unintellectual, I was like, "Wait a minute." Sorry.
First of all,
I know.
First of all,
he didn't. Now Darrell didn't call you.
Here's the thing:
unintellectual. He didn't say that.
I'm gonna tell y'all something, and it needs to be said because don't let Nickie start getting to feeling himself too much because I ain't said shit. So here's the thing: I would never call Nickie unintellectual because that would be one of the biggest lies I've ever told. I would never try to downplay this man's intellect. And in fact, he has his finger more on the pulse of politics than I do. What I said was that his way of digesting that specific situation, if it was in fact what I think it is, I'm open to being wrong. But if it is in fact what I think it is, that was a lazy way of of digesting that. If it's your preferred method, lazy ain't bad. I'm lazy all the time. I'm lazy at work sometimes. I'm lazy in life sometimes, and I'm going to own up to that. And it is lazy. But I think Nickie knows exactly what I meant by that. I think he just decided to try to have his moment, and you had your moment, and I'm giving it to you. But I just don't want people out here thinking that I'm talking about another educated black man and saying that he's intellectual, because that ain't my style.
Okay.
Boom.
This episode was not supposed to be all about this. There are so many other things on my board in front of me.
Wow.
But we got to none of them.
Well, moderator, you should have moved the conversation.
I told y'all I'm not good with
you
this.
You should have gave me the talking points, so I would have kept it moving along.
Right. I didn't know what
so
we
many
talking
different
about.
ones. Like, wow.
Well,
this is why
but you know what though? Clearly this needed to get out of the system. So, and and how do we feel now? Do we feel that you guys are on the same page for the most part?
Yeah. Also, guys, me and Darrell are gonna be fine after this. We're not mad.
Actually,
this is very normal. They do this.
Don't speak for me. Actually,
Bitch.
I'm kidding. I just want y'all to know Nickie has been wanting to act like this on this podcast for quite a while, and I'm so glad that you were able to see who he truly is. Got to see, because Nickie will swear up and down, I'm not petty, I'm not confrontational, I'm not blah, 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 blah. I'm just little Nickie from Mississippi. But no, he be getting
that's the wrong state.
He gets y'all know it's funny. I always think he's from, what is it, Tennessee? It's usually Tennessee. But no, this is who he is, y'all. This is how Nickie talks. He beats me up verbally all the time. This is how this talks.
Wow. Jordan, do I beat you up verbally?
You do not.
Is that my character?
You have not beat me up verbally, no. I mean, you've had a few moments here and there. But but it's not but it's not like a consistent. I feel like that's you guys more than it's me. So I feel like I'm the common ground.
You are. You're the calm of this podcast. Darrell is the dog on fire.
I don't know. I don't know if you can exactly put it all on Darrell after today. I think you showed a lot of fiery aspects today. So
it's giving very Congresswoman Crockett. That's what it's giving.
All right,
which is a good thing. Which is whoa,
woo! Now that's
and on that note.
Because now it actually might get ugly. Because that would make me want to fight.
Wrap this up.
Guys. Thank you for coming to listen to today's episode of Hell I Don't Know. We will see you next week.
Or maybe not. Maybe not.